Y'all, at midnight, Melody Shari Rogers released her statement stating that she would no longer be on Love and Marriage Huntsville. After 9 seasons of sharing her life with us, she has decided to part ways with the show.
Melody Shari wasn't just another face on reality TV. She was the energy, the emotion, the storyline people waited for every single week. When she walked into a scene, you knew something was about to happen. And for a long time, it felt like she and Carlos King were building something powerful together, something that couldn't be shaken. But behind the scenes, things weren't as smooth as they looked on camera. Because what happens when the star of the show starts realizing she doesn't actually control her own story? And what happens when the producer, the man pulling all the strings, decides it's time to remind everyone exactly who's in charge? That's where everything changed. Because what nobody expected was that this would turn into a silent power battle, a battle that didn't explode overnight, but slowly built, piece by piece, until one shocking move left fans asking the same question. Did Carlos King really push Melody Shari out just to take full control? And if he did, was it strategy or was it personal? Let's get into it.
Hurt you that she's around your children?
It does not hurt me, no. More than anything, I go into protective mode. Like, I'm never going to trust someone who adored my family setup so much that they worked their ass off to come between it. Of course, with the help of him, but still.
Hey, our children are perfectly fine.
Like I said, for me, knowing that they are around someone who has said such nasty and vile things about their mother
and about all those babysitters that you had, 11 babysitters
who said multiple things
you know
about their father.
11
See how he
babysitters.
defends her? He's bringing up something directly at me when I'm talking about a person who has for years, as he knows, tried to torture and come in between our marriage, DMing me. See, he knows all of those things, and I could keep going. So when he sits there and tries to defend, how dare you?
For years, Melody Shari was more than just a reality TV personality. She was a brand, a businesswoman, a woman who turned her personal life into something millions of people connected with. Her journey wasn't easy. She opened up about her marriage, her heartbreak, her growth, and that kind of vulnerability made people feel like they knew her, like they were rooting for her, not just watching her. That's what made her so valuable. Because in reality TV, authenticity is everything, and Melody had it. At the same time, Carlos King was building his own empire behind the scenes. He wasn't just producing shows, he was shaping narratives, creating stars, and controlling how stories were told. And that's where things get complicated. Because when you have a strong personality like Melody and a powerful producer like Carlos, eventually there's going to be a clash.
And so whenever we tend to be rejected, you know, that hurts our soul, us emotionally.
So
that'll make us do things that we shouldn't do, you know, once we feel that rejection. And,
right.
And I felt it. My ex, she felt it, and that caused us to do things that'll hurt, you know, because of that rejection. I didn't think that I would be the person to, you know, going through this divorce, breaking down and crying and stuff like that. I'd never been a person to cry.
Right.
But this situation made me a little emotional and things like that, especially, you know, my kids, I love them so much.
At first, everything seemed aligned. Melody was the face, Carlos was the mastermind. Together, they were creating something successful. But then, Melody started growing beyond the show. She wasn't just relying on reality TV anymore. She was building businesses, expanding her influence, and creating opportunities that existed outside of Carlos's control. And that's when the dynamics started to shift. Because in this industry, independence can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it means success, growth, power. But on the other hand, it can make producers nervous, because the more control a star has over their own image, the less control the show has on the narrative. And if there's one thing producers don't like, it's losing control.
From that, what I did that I
Repeatedly.
so just regret from the depths of my heart, regret. I'm like, if I knew, now it's like it wouldn't be this way. You know what I'm saying?
You should have listened.
Rumors started circulating quietly at first. Whispers about disagreements, tension behind the scenes, moments where Melody wasn't fully on board with how things were being handled. Some said she didn't like certain storylines being pushed. Others claimed she felt her image was being shaped in ways she didn't agree with. And then there were talks about editing, how scenes were cut, what was shown, and what was left out. Because here's the truth about reality TV. What you see isn't always the full story. And when a cast member starts feeling like their real life is being turned into something they don't recognize, that's when things get messy. But here's the twist. Instead of everything blowing up publicly, this situation played out quietly, strategically, almost like a chess game.
Listen, this show means a lot to Melissa in a very different way of what it means to Teresa. I think, to your point, listen, I think anybody who watches the show can see that Melissa wants to be the top dog, and she has trouble with Teresa constantly winning in the end. And this, I'm gonna tell you, it was the season where Danielle Staub, one of my favorites of all time.
Yes.
It was the season where Danielle Staub, unfortunately, Melissa, like, Teresa told me to pull the hair. What I saw was this excitement of Melissa getting the tea. Like, well, she did what? And I think of Melissa's mind, she was like, oh, baby, it's going down.
Fans didn't notice it at first, but then subtle changes started happening. Melody's presence on the show began to feel different. She wasn't gone, but she wasn't the same central figure she used to be. Her screen time felt reduced. Her storylines felt less dominant, and people started asking questions. Was this just a natural shift in the show, or was something happening behind the scenes? Because in reality TV, nothing is random. Every scene, every storyline, every moment that makes it to the screen is intentional. And if Melody was slowly being pushed to the background, that wasn't an accident. That was a decision. And that decision had one name behind it: Carlos King. Now, this is where things really start to get interesting, because Carlos has always been known for one thing: control. He understands how to build a show. He knows what keeps viewers watching, and he's not afraid to make tough calls to protect that vision. But sometimes, those calls come at a cost. As the tension between Melody and production grew, insiders began hinting at deeper issues: contract disagreements, creative differences, power struggles. And suddenly, it wasn't just about a TV show anymore. It was about ownership. Who owns the story? Who controls the narrative? And who gets to decide how everything plays out? Melody, on her side, seemed to become more careful, more selective about what she said, more aware of how things could be twisted or interpreted. And that kind of shift doesn't happen for no reason. It happens when someone realizes they're not fully in control anymore. But here's what nobody expected. Instead of a dramatic exit or a public fallout, everything happened quietly. No big announcement, no explosive confrontation, just a gradual fade. And that's what made it even more suspicious, because when someone as important as Melody starts stepping back, people notice. Fans started connecting the dots. They went back, rewatched episodes, analyzed interviews, and paid attention to social media. And what they saw didn't sit right. It felt like Melody wasn't just stepping away. It felt like she was being edged out. And that brings us to the biggest question of all. Did Carlos King make a calculated move to remove Melody from the spotlight? Because if he did, it wasn't random, it was strategic. Think about it. If a star becomes too powerful, too independent, too influential, they can start shifting the balance of the entire show. They can influence storylines, challenge production, refuse to play along. And for a producer like Carlos, that's a risk, because at the end of the day, the show has to come first, not the cast, not the personalities, the show. So what do you do when one person starts becoming bigger than the system itself? You remind them who built the system, and sometimes that reminder doesn't come in the form of an argument, it comes in the form of silence. Less screen time, less focus, less importance, until eventually, they're no longer at the center. And once that happens, control shifts back where it started, with the producer. But here's where things get even deeper, because fans didn't just sit back and accept it, they reacted strongly. Social media turned into a battlefield. People took sides. Some believed Carlos was simply doing his job, keeping the show balanced and preventing any one person from dominating. Others felt like Melody was being disrespected, pushed aside after everything she contributed. And the support for her, it was loud. People called out the changes, they questioned the editing, they demanded answers. Because to them, this wasn't just TV, it was personal. They had watched Melody's journey, they had connected with her story, and seeing her slowly disappear from the spotlight didn't feel right. But Carlos, he stayed calm, calculated. When he finally addressed the situation, his words were careful. He talked about growth, about evolution, about how no one person is bigger than the show. And technically, he wasn't wrong, but at the same time, he didn't really answer the question. He didn't confirm if Melody chose to step back. He didn't confirm if there were disagreements. He didn't explain why things felt so different. And that silence, it spoke volumes. Because sometimes what isn't said tells you more than what is. Meanwhile, Melody didn't come out swinging either. She didn't expose everything. She didn't go on a rant. Instead, she moved differently, focused on her own projects, her businesses, her brand. And that kind of move, it says a lot, because it shows she wasn't waiting for the show to define her anymore. She was building something bigger, something she controlled. And maybe that's the real story here. Not just a fallout, not just a power struggle, but a turning point, a moment where everything shifted. Because while Carlos may have taken full control of the show, Melody may have taken full control of her life, and that changes everything. Because in the long run, who really wins? The person who controls the narrative, or the person who walks away and creates their own? The emotional impact of all this runs deeper than people realize. Because for Melody, this wasn't just about screen time, it was about identity, about being part of something she helped build, and then feeling like she no longer had a place in it. That kind of shift can hit hard. It can make you question everything, your value, your voice, your role. And even if she didn't show it publicly, moments like that stay with you. They change how you move, how you trust, how you see people. At the same time, it likely affected relationships behind the scenes too, because when business and personal connections mix, things get complicated, lines get blurred, and once trust is shaken, it's hard to rebuild. For fans, it also left a gap, because whether people loved her or criticized her, Melody brought something real, and without that, the show feels different. Not necessarily worse, but not the same. And that's something you can't easily replace. Now, here's the part that really makes you think. Because endings like this, they're never really endings. They're setups for what comes next. Because if there's one thing we know about people like Melody, they don't just disappear. They evolve. They come back stronger, smarter, more in control. And if she decides to tell her side of the story one day, that could change everything. Because there are always two sides to every situation, and right now, we've only seen part of it. As for Carlos, he's still running the show, still making decisions, still shaping what millions of people see. But the pressure is there, because when you remove a key piece, you have to prove the system still works without it, and that's not always easy. So now the real question is, was this move worth it? Did taking full control come at a bigger cost than expected? Or was it a necessary step to keep the show alive? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. This wasn't just a simple cast change. It was a power shift, a quiet, strategic, emotional shift that changed everything behind the scenes. And stories like this, they don't just disappear. They stay, they grow, they come back when you least expect them. So don't be surprised if this isn't the last time we hear about Melody Shari and Carlos King. Because in reality TV, the drama never really ends. It just waits for the next chapter.